Maya. So today I'm going to be making some chocolate dipped shortbread cookies. So what you're going to need is 4 sticks of butter, 1 cup of sugar, 3.5 cups of flour, plus some for dusting on the counter. I'm using some vanilla bean paste, but vanilla bean extract works just as well, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. First thing you're going to do is add your butter and your sugar into your mixer. I'm using a KitchenAid mixer with the paddle attachment. Butter and your sugar. And I'm using a spatula to help me get the ingredients in there. All right, and I'm gonna blend this up till I get a nice fluffy consistency. I'm gonna scrape the sides of the bowl because I find that the butter seems to stick up on the sides of the bowl a lot, and I wanna make sure everything's incorporated. Okay, now we're gonna continue blending this till it's really white and fluffy. All right, now that it looks nice, white and fluffy, I'm gonna add in my vanilla. So it calls for 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And this is vanilla bean paste, so it's a lot thicker than vanilla extract. And you actually see the vanilla bean pods in it, which is a really nice addition. All right. Now blend that together. You can see the little specks of vanilla in there. The next thing I'm going to add is my 3.5 cups of flour. Just add that all in at once. All right. And my 1/4 teaspoon of salt that I'm just going to eyeball in there. Now we're going to mix this on low so flour doesn't get everywhere. And you can slowly begin making it faster. I'm going to scrape the edges once more. All right. And continue mixing till combined. All right, so you can see now it's still crumbly, but it's just beginning to come together. So I'm actually gonna let this out of the KitchenAid and we're gonna mix it on the countertop. Now I'm gonna sprinkle the counter with some flour, and you can be kind of generous because you really don't want your cookies to stick, and spread it out nicely. And now we're gonna take our dough and dump it out on the counter. Make sure you're working on a clean counter surface because you don't want a dirty counter surface with your cookies. I'm just trying to get all that stuff out there. Your hands are a really good tool for this. Again, make sure your hands are clean as well. All right, now that my bowl is cleaned, I'm going to begin working the dough ever so gently. You don't really need to knead the dough, you just kind of want to make sure everything's incorporated. So once this is incorporated, you're going to make a disc out of the dough, just like this. And then you can plastic wrap it or put it in a bag like I'm going to do. So I'm going to put my disc of dough in a plastic bag. And I'm going to put this in the refrigerator for about 30 to 45 minutes so the butter has a chance to chill before I put them in the oven. All right. So now we're ready to pop right out in the fridge. My dough has been in the fridge for about an hour now, and I just removed it and I put it onto a lightly floured surface, and now I'm just pressing it out until it's about 1/8 of an inch thick. You could also use a rolling pin if you'd like, but I find doing it by hand works just as well. I'm cutting the dough into rectangular shape, so it's best if you keep the dough in a rectangle shape so that it's easy to cut. Now I'm just kind of smoothing the edges out, making sure that everything looks nice and clean. And I'm going to sprinkle the top with a bit of flour just so that everything's completely stick free. Now my dough is nicely rolled out into a rectangular shape, I'm going to begin cutting it into the pieces that I'd like. So I'm just going to do sort of thin rectangular shapes. So now that I have my cookies on the tray, they're going to go in a 350 oven for about 20 to 25 minutes. There we go. Now we can get working on our chocolate dip. Alright, so over here I have my double boiler heating up, which is a saucepan with some boiling water. And then I have a bowl resting on top. And make sure that the water is not touching the bottom of the bowl, or else your chocolate will be hard. Alright, so here I have 1 cup of chocolate chips and about a tablespoon of coconut oil. And I'm just going to pour that into the double boiler. And the coconut oil is going to allow the chocolate to harden on the outside of the cookies really nicely. And I'm just going to stir this till it slowly melts. And then we'll be able to dip our cookies in. Make sure that when you're dipping your cookies, they're fully cooled, or else the chocolate will take a really long time to harden. Alright, now our chocolate and our coconut oil are almost fully melted. You can see there's just a few little lumps left. We're going to whisk those out. Alright, now it's full on, smooth, shiny chocolate, ready to be dipped in our cookies. Shut our heat and wait for our cookies. Alright, so I've removed my cookies from the oven and allowed them to cool for about 20 minutes. So now I have my melted chocolate and my cooled cookies, and I'm going to drizzle the chocolate with a fork over the cookies just like this. So you can decide if you want to do thicker or thinner drizzles. I'm going to start with just a few and then make sure that I have enough to coat all the cookies and then go back and do some more. And I'm doing kind of thin drizzles, but sometimes it just comes out thick. So now I'm just going to continue drizzling the chocolate over my cooled shortbread cookies. And you can just go back and forth in any pattern you want. I find a fork is the easiest method to get the chocolate onto the cookies, but you can use whatever works for you. You can also dip half of the cookies into chocolate, but I find that this looks a lot prettier and less kind of perfect. And I like it to look a little bit rustic. You want to get a lot of chocolate on there. And it's okay if you make a little bit of a mess, because it's pretty easy to clean up once the chocolate dries. Alright, so all my shortbread cookies are drizzled with chocolate. I want you to now look around and make sure that all the pieces are nicely drizzled. I'm finding a few on the edges that aren't fully coated, so I'm just going to add a little bit more drizzle on those. Maybe some in the center. Just look at each individual cookie and make sure that they're fully coated in chocolate. Not really missing many parts. Alright, that looks pretty good to me. So these are going to go in the fridge for about 10 to 15 minutes so the chocolate fully hardens, and then they'll be ready to eat. Now that the cookies are done and drizzled with chocolate, chocolate has hardened, it's time to take a taste. The slightly crunchy cookie with the melty chocolate top is so delicious. You guys should really try these cookies out.